Hello there. This is Rom Wills and the lovely Miss Mocha Angel.
Hello.
And this is our review of Insecure Season 4, Episode 8,
Mm-hmm.
Low-Key Happy.
Mm-hmm.
So what were your thoughts?
My thoughts were that this was a grown folks episode. Issa put on her big girl panties and she took them off, but that's okay. And Lawrence put on his big boy boxers. We took those off too. But I liked it. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay. Well, let's get into it. Because it was an interesting episode because it didn't start off that great. I mean, well, he was at the club. Obviously, he was obviously nervous about something. He couldn't even get that breath mint in. But then that was overshadowed. Like she come in and she just trips up. She trips up, and then when she gets up, she get ran over by a group of women. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, oh man. But what were your thoughts? I mean, okay, they meeting at the club. He seemed kind of nervous. I mean, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I knew he'd be nervous because from the last episode when he called her and he said, hey, I've been thinking about you. I mean, that was like, hey, I miss you. I want to see you. I want to be with you. So yeah, I knew something was going to happen through this episode.
Yeah, and it was kind of awkward at first. I mean, they had a guy bust in between them, and then
right,
they end up leaving, and find out that Molly and Issa aren't friends anymore.
Right.
And they leave, of course. Lyft driver. I was trying to recognize because you know how Issa Rae be having like guest stars. I was like, okay, is that somebody we should know?
I didn't recognize.
It was all, huh?
I didn't recognize her. Do you know who it was?
No, that's okay. We expected so much. It's like, oh wait, it ain't there. But then she all in their business and stuff, and it was interesting because you could see the growth that Issa had.
There you go.
Because they were talking about going to this restaurant, and Issa had been there several times before, and she even ordered for them. I was like, oh man, okay.
Yes. And he was fine with that. He was perfectly fine with that because she ordered the right thing. She ordered what she knew he would like.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then we got to now the tough part. Because you kind of figured out, okay, he would tell her that he wanted to get back with her. But, and that was a tough conversation because he was really asking, okay, why Daniel?
Yes.
And that's a tough conversation. That's what a lot of couples have. Why that person? Why that person?
Right.
I mean, what were your thoughts on all of that?
Okay. So that was a grown-up conversation. This was a grown-up episode. This was growth on both of their parts, but this is the post-breakup. We've had time to think about what went wrong and what we individually did wrong to make us break up. And that was a healing conversation outside of what happened later. I mean, it was just a necessary conversation for their spiritual and emotional growth for future relationships, because the jury's still out on this one. But they needed it.
Yeah, no, they definitely did because going back to season 1, you get the impression she had never got over Daniel. And, even then you're like, okay, why she reach out to him? And, in later seasons, we would see when she had a chance to actually be with Daniel, it was like, man, wasn't there for it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really about Daniel, but it was about he wasn't getting what she wanted in the relationship. And he wasn't doing some things, and he was feeling bad. And really, what that came down to, which it really showed, it was just a matter of communication.
Correct.
They didn't communicate. That's probably what should have happened. I mean, you look back at it, and that'd be a lesson for like relationships in the real world. Did they communicate? Because that's the biggest thing. Did the two people communicate? Because a lot of stuff could have not happened if they had communicated.
Correct.
Say, hey, this is the issue, this is how I'm really feeling and stuff. And they could have worked through it.
Correct.
Because, when we first see Lawrence, we just see him sitting on the couch. We don't know what's going on. The people still think he was just a bum, but he was just going through a bad period.
Right.
But there wasn't, it was just like, okay, they ain't really talking and everything. And he had mentioned he was thinking about moving back home. And, you know, it's just a lot of stuff in there, but they had that conversation, you know? They had that conversation and, you know, it was interesting. Okay, they had the conversation, but then you get a wild card thrown in.
Yes.
Condola reaches out to him.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, wait a minute. What's up with that? And you thinking, okay, the easy thing for him is to call Condola and say, hey, they talking about, oh, let's talk.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. But, and you know, you got the impression at first that was going to happen, but then Lawrence was like, psych.
Right.
It was just like, okay. He was enjoying the moment. I don't know what his intentions were, but I think once they got past that and saw it, maybe they saw each other in a different light. And then throughout the episode, it was like, oh, we seeing something new. They showing each other something new.
Correct.
That was a constant theme throughout the episode. I mean, what were your thoughts on their conversation and everything?
Yeah, okay. So I 100% agree with you about they were showing each other something new, like throughout the whole episode, like from the beginning, except for when she fell. Okay. That was
that wasn't new.
But from that point forward, it was like, oh, this is a new drink. Oh, I'm gonna order for you. Oh, I'm grown up now, and oh, I did the event, and oh, I'm moving to San Francisco, and all this stuff was happening. But as far as the conversation goes, I wrote down or paraphrased what they said, and he asked her the question that Condola asked him, what would have happened had we stayed together? And he said, do I give up too easily? Do I give up too early on things? And, and she just basically said it felt good to be wanted by somebody else because you weren't into me at all. Like he wasn't into life. And frankly, let me stay on that point. Because I wrote mental health. I felt like that's another theme because Nathan was going through the same thing, and they didn't use the word depressed, but he was depressed. He was, and that's legitimate. And she didn't know what to do, and he didn't know what to do, and it was just a really hard time for him. And she didn't have the words, to help him, or didn't know what actions to take. So, and then when she said, it felt good to be wanted. And then he said, did you want to blow the whole thing up? And she said, she was scared that we fall back into our old patterns because it was scary for her.
Okay.
And he said, you were a daily reminder that I had nothing to do because she kept going to work and he wasn't. So when everything blew up, it was just easier for him to blame her. I mean, yes, she did cheat on him. And that is, that's a legitimate reason to break up with somebody. But he didn't take the time to say, well, what did I do? Did I contribute to her? Did I push her towards somebody else? What was really going on? But I get it. At the time, he wasn't trying to hear all that. So.
Yeah, well, what he was going through at the time, because especially with many men, I mean, many men might be silent during that time. And a lot of times we going through something.
Right.
And that's one thing sometimes women have to understand. We going through something, but we might not be able to articulate it, and that's couples. That's couples. That communication piece is with couples, period. And I like how they wrote that, whoever wrote that. In fact, I think that was written by Natasha Rothwell Kelly.
Yes, it was. I caught that.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, like you said, it was a grown folks episode, because you know what?
100%.
Because when I said before, when they kind of get them together, I was going to be like, no. And in the middle, I felt the no coming up, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Well,
they kind of handling this. They kind of handling because they having a grown folks conversation.
Correct.
That's the key thing there, a grown folks conversation. Because a lot of times when, just in general, when people talk about relationships, it's never grown folks. Everybody's like in either their little girl mode or their little boy mode. That is just being, okay, why don't we just be real with this? And a lot of times, most things can be resolved just through communication and just through growth. Because there was a scene there. There was a scene there, and I kind of like how it happened because it showed some maturity on both their parts, especially Lawrence's part. And that's when Calvin TSA Bay came up.
Right.
And you know, he just TSA babe, that's a player. He was
Yeah.
there with another woman,
Yep.
and he just let long. He was like cool. He just let him know straight up. Oh yeah, we used to kick it. So but Lawrence was just like,
Okay.
yeah, he was realistic about it. He wasn't tripping or anything like that, you know. And yeah, I guess it was to say, you know what, I done been there. I can't point the finger at her.
Correct.
She did her thing. She hung out with a woman I was dealing with, you know. And I like how that happened because that was still grown folks. I mean, it's like it is what it is.
Correct.
And I gotta give it to him, dude. Just that looked like the stare. I gotta get. Let me just throw that aside, because you know people don't always promote being in your best version, your best shape, but some dudes just got charisma like that, and that dude just had that charisma. I always say if if you don't have like that physicality, which a lot of people think, oh, it's just a physicality. Sometimes if you just got that charisma, you just get yours. I was like, okay, you know. It woman chilling with him, and shoot, probably having another one of his babies or something.
Probably.
But one of the things is they went to the art festival, and that was something because he was faking like he was gonna go away. Then he's like, had the whole psych thing, and they were still hanging out.
Yeah.
They were still hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, okay, and and that kind of represented some growth. And then they talking, and he was saying, he realized, you know what, he ain't really that entrepreneur.
Yes.
Or that leader. And that's an interesting thing. It'd be good if they can get into that more because one thing I picked up on with Lawrence from last season, his background was more bougie. He had went to Georgetown, had, the father. He's more from that upper class. And a lot of times, especially in this particular space, we'll talk about the women, the natural 92 octanes, who like the professional types. You might know what that 92 octane is.
Yeah, in another life, but yeah.
Yeah, you know about that life. But they, for the first time, and they, it'd be interesting if they could even spin off that show if they don't get back together and get more into Lawrence's life. Like you go to San Francisco and you got a whole different show.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you look at it, he said leader, but he said something specific. He was like, what was expected.
Yes. I thought I was supposed to be that guy. Yes.
Yeah. So he was doing what was expected. And sometimes when you have men from that background, a lot of guys don't get that. The father was military, parents, Georgetown, all of that. He was expected to do something. He's expected to go to this level. Trust me, I can relate to that. So, but then you get there and it's like, damn, this ain't really me. And he realizes, you know what, I'm more of a team player.
Yeah.
I can help somebody else's vision. So in a way, it showed his growth because he came into who he really was.
Right.
And then, she came into it and it was both growth on both their parts.
Yes.
And of course, they made love at the end. It wasn't just like, that wasn't TSA-based sex or crazy sex with Nathan.
No.
It's like, they actually made love. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
They did a little bit of tantra with that one position. I was like.
Yeah, but they have history. And so a couple notes I took, while they were talking, before the sex scene, I was like, these two have mad chemistry. Okay. They really do. It is clear that these are two people who know each other inside and out. And he actually said to her, I like you like this. So, and she was like, no, and I wrote, I like Issa like this too, and it's like, if these were the two people who got together now, this would work out. You know what I mean? But it's like, can they get past the past? Okay. Is the question for the future. And should they even get back together? I'm still on the fence about it. I'm like, they did that already. But it's nice to see a grown couple, like be friends again. It was just nice. It was just really nice. So
Well, one of the ways, if they're going to handle it right, it shouldn't be like, oh, at the end of the season. I mean, we don't know, but at the end of the season, it's like, oh, we're back together. We lovey-dovey. It should be like, okay, we cool, we did that, but still, why don't we, just let it flow.
yeah.
Don't jump back because they still got to know the new person that they're dealing with. Because
Right.
she go into his place, she had joked about seeing an air mattress or something, and
You're right.
she go in there, it's like, dude, got it fixed up.
Right. And he got what? Somebody come to clean it bi-weekly? What? Really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, he getting paid, and he still might head to San Francisco. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And Nathan's still in the picture one way or the other, and
The Condola's still in the picture.
Yeah, so you got all of this stuff there.
Yeah.
But even when she rolled out, I guess wearing one of his shirts. I don't know what shirt that was.
I was like, where'd she get that from? But okay.
Yeah, I know. I was like, yeah, that don't look like something Lawrence would wear. But you know what? We'll let it go.
We'll let it go.
It was a good flow. We'll overlook that one. Like, where'd she get that? It was like, hold up.
Right.
And I didn't realize she had on, well, I guess she did have on jeans the night before. And they didn't seem that close. She did a lot of walking to get home. I was like, unless she was just walking around. But she was feeling good. And I think just overall, one thing I got to give the season, her growth. Her growth. And she's getting more into, okay, who she is. She's good at organizing stuff. And his growth too, and even just his calmness. He was like, okay, he knows who he is. So, but, there's still stuff there. And hopefully they don't jump the shark and have them all lovey-dovey at the end, but more like, okay, we're getting to know each other again.
That's it right there.
Yeah, and it's like it's two different people, but they're not going back to what was. That's the key.
Correct.
That's the key thing. So, okay. Any final words?
Just saying a couple of things. Chemistry. Yeah, I just thought, honestly, the episode made sense. I really was digging it. I was feeling it because it was realistic. And again, I don't think the world is rooting for Lawrence and Issa to get back together. Not yet, anyway. Because they had to talk. They had to figure this out. They had to figure out what was wrong. Because I feel like that's for them. Lawrence really did that for himself. Okay. And Issa was grown enough to and was willing to go along with it and say, okay, fine, let's just keep it real. This is what happened. Okay. So I appreciated that part. And I thought it was funny, especially in the beginning. And it had that cool vibe. And at the end, I've said this before, Los Angeles is a character in the show. And so I felt like that long walk she took, that was like, there you go. That's the love letter to LA, especially with what's going on right now. So yeah, 9 out of 10, easily. I didn't have to sleep on it. That was a 9. That was good.
Okay. All right. So they got 2 more episodes left. I think the next episode is directed by Kerry Washington.
And that would be nice. However, just to kind of say something about that, as heated as that argument was between Molly and Issa, I would not be meeting homegirl in public. Okay. My first thought was, why aren't y'all at one of y'all's houses and having this conversation? Because it could get heated again because you're in public. So yeah, I'm just saying. So that's just me.
Oh, okay. All right then. Well, that's good. We got 2 more left. We'll do this again next week. So I want to thank everybody for listening and let us know what you think in the comments. So peace and blessings, everyone.
Bye, y'all.